Alright, in this video we are going to be looking at the mouse settings here in Windows. So again, you can see here in the settings app, for the mouse settings, there's actually very few options here presented to you initially. So you can set your primary button, left or right. By default, it's going to be left. You can kind of change that to suit your preference. How to scroll, you can scroll multiple lines at a time or just one screen at a time. Typically multiple lines at a time will be what you want, and you can set that here. And the scroll over inactive windows, basically what that'll tell you to do, instead of having click on the window, so say I click off the settings app here, oh it's not active. If you could scroll, I could just mouse over the window, not clicking on it, to change the focus from another application, and then I can easily scroll. So that's essentially what that does. So for additional options for the mouse, besides these basic options here, you want to click additional mouse options, and that's going to open up a new window here for your mouse properties. And you can see you have several additional options here. So starting with the button, and again you'll have the same options that you saw here on the settings app. Switch your primary and secondary buttons. So if you click, you can see. So now I have to use the other button to uncheck that. Your double click speed. And you can test that here using that folder, and you can control how slow or fast that is. If you want click lock on, you can click here to enable that, and click the settings to determine how short or long you need to press. I'll allow you to read about that on your own for how that works. Typically that's not something you're really going to need unless you're having to do excuse me, a lot of clicking and dragging around. So the pointers tab here, you can change the style of the pointer. You have the Windows default, but let's say you want black and extra large, you can change it to however you want. And then you can go through and click and see kind of what all these icons are going to look like. So pointer options, the pointer speed. And so the other option here I want to show you is the for visibility display pointer trail. So if you check that, and I'll move the mouse, and you can see how kind of there's a tail going around it. And then if you're ever doing a lot and you can't seem to find the mouse, it may get hidden or something. If you just check this box and you'll hit Control, as you can see, every time I hit it, there's kind of going to be a circle that comes down onto the mouse to show you where it's at. And then for the scroll wheel, again, I do recommend about 3 lines for when you scroll it. The mouse wheel, for how many lines on the screen it scrolls. If that's not enough, or if it's too much, you can adjust it. But if you prefer to completely scroll the entire screen, you can check the option to do one screen at a time. Horizontal scrolling, probably not something to worry about as much, as most mice generally don't have that, where you can tilt the scroll wheel. And then the other tab, hardware, that's really nothing to be concerned. That's just going to tell you information about your mouse. And the set point settings you have here, that's because I had a Logitech mouse that had its own app, and so it gets a link here to open that application. So that is basically it for the mouse settings. In the next video, we will look at the keyboard settings. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, comments, please click the link below to access the video survey and leave us your feedback. Thank you.